Alright, so today we're doing lesson 1-8, and you will need to use Desmos again. So if you want to make sure you have that ready to go. Okay, so first we're going to talk about what a correlation coefficient is, and it's just a measure between two variables. The regression coefficient is often denoted by the letter R. That's if we are using a linear equation or a linear regression. And then we're going to use R squared if it is a quadratic regression. Whichever one we're using, it's always going to be a number between -1 and 1. If we get a positive R or R squared value, then that means as x increases, y also increases. And then if I have a negative R value, that means it has a negative relationship, so as x increases, y decreases. If I get a number that's exactly 1 or -1, that is a perfect correlation. So they correlate perfectly together. And if we get, so basically what's going to happen is we're going to get like a scatter plot. And if my points form a perfect straight line, then my R value is going to be either 1 or -1. If my scatter plot doesn't form an exact line, but it's pretty close, it's a strong relation. And then there's also something considered to be a weak relation, where they're scattered about. And we're going to do some examples of that. If I get an R or R squared value that's 0, that means there's no relationship. And typically if we get a 0.95 or higher, or -0.95 or lower, then it is an excellent fit. Okay, and then we're going to round. Actually, we're going to truncate, which means whatever those numbers are after the decimal, that's what we write down. And I like the thousands place. So 3 numbers after the decimal is what we're going to go with. Okay. So that brings us to our scatter plots on the next page. So looking at these 6, we're just going to write down whether it's a strong relation, a weak relation, or no relation at all. If I look at these two, they form an exact nice line going up and going down. If you look at the R value, they're a 1 and a -1. So these are both a strong correlation. These are scattered about, but you can see that they're increasing, but it's still a weak correlation. This one you can tell that they're decreasing, but it's still a weak correlation. This one you can't tell, and this one doesn't even make sense. If you notice, they both have an R value of 0. Whenever you have an R value of 0, there's no correlation. So both of these have no correlation. All right, so down here, these are our choices to pick from when I'm matching these up. If I look at this one, this has no relationship, so this one's E. This one also doesn't have a relationship, that one's also E. Some of these you might use more than once, obviously. This one's decreasing, so I know it's negative, and it makes a perfect line. So this would be a strong negative correlation, so this one's A. This one I can tell it's decreasing, so it is negative, but it's a weak negative, so this one's B. This one, it does not make a perfect straight line. You can tell it's going up, so I would probably say this one's D. If you also said it was C, that would be okay too. I would accept C or D. It's more D though, I would believe, because it doesn't make a nice straight line like this one does. All right, so now we're going to use Desmos. Okay, so let me pull up here my phone. Okay, here it is. So I need to add a table here. First of all, this table represents the breaking strength in pounds of wood. That is 2 inches thick, and then this is my height. Oh, this is the strength right here. This is the breaking strength. This is the height of the piece of wood. Okay, so I need to enter this table into my Desmos here. So again, mine's going to look different than your screen, but it's fine. So right here, I'm going to hit the plus button because I want to add a table. And I'm just going to type in all these X values in for X1. And you hit enter after each number that you type in. And then Y1, those are the numbers that are in the second row, which is labeled with S. And make sure you type in the numbers very carefully, because if you just mess up on one number, it's going to mess everything up. Okay. Let me make sure I type those in good. Okay, that looks good. All right. So what I'm going to do now is go down to the second box after my table's in. Now before I move on, I'm going to define my variables. So X represent, says up here, inches high. And S, which is the Y, that is the strength in pounds. Okay, so now I want to find a quadratic model. I'm going to write down right here what you're going to type into Desmos, and then we'll type it into Desmos. Y1 tilde ax1 squared plus bx1 plus c. So we're going to type that in to our Desmos. Okay, let's see if I have that little symbol there. Okay, anyway. I have this little symbol on my computer. It's on your keyboard on your Chromebook. I wonder if I can find it on here. Let's see, is it in functions? Don't know where it is. Guess I should have checked before I started doing this. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, how do I make this go away? There we go. Alright, well anyway, I don't know if I can do it on here. I don't see that little tilde anywhere. Alright, so anyway, I'm going to show you, so what you would do, right here in box 2, you're going to type this in exactly how you see it. Y with a 1, this little symbol. I'm going to show you where it is on my keyboard. It's upside down. No, it's not. Here we go. It's right here, so it's right below the escape button. So you have to do shift and then that button. That's how I did it on my computer, but I can't show you that since I am taping this lesson. Okay, anyway, so you're just going to have to see what you got here. So type this into box 2, exactly like this. You want the squared, you want this x1, all of that. I'm going to write down what you should get for an answer, because I already did this. Let me use a different color here. Okay, so this is what your equation should look like, and I'm going to write it like y equals. For A, you should have gotten 180.892, and then I want x squared. The B value, whoops, it's actually a negative, so maybe you should put minus instead of plus. 205.785x, and then plus C, which is 272. That's what you should have gotten after you type this into your second box of Desmos, which I can't show you because I'm using my phone. Also, r squared should show up. It says that r squared is 0.999. That's very close to 1, so this is probably an excellent fit. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to type, I can go back to my Desmos now. All right, so let's see here. So the only thing I couldn't show you is how to get all that stuff. If I zoom in, there's my scatter plot. I can actually fix my window. I want to do that actually. Let's go to Tools, this little thing right there. I'm going to change my x-axis from -10 to +10. I'm just going to do that. Let's see if that worked. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to go to box 2, and I'm going to type in this equation, exactly how I see it. So y equals 180.892, whoops, I messed up, x squared, that's what I have so far, minus 205.785x plus 272. All right, and if you look, it's almost a perfect fit. Okay, so now I got to answer this question right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to now box 3, and I'm going to type in x equals 2. So just like the past couple days, my answer is wherever they intersect. Got to make sure that 2 shows up in my x spot. My answer is going to be about 584, but I'm going to write down what it says there. So 583.998, and since I'm writing down the y value, I want to label that with pounds. So that's my answer to D. All right, let's go to the last page, and if you think I'm going too fast, which I might be, you could always just rewind what I'm doing here. Okay, anyway, last page. I got a new table. I got to define my variables first. Instead of using x and y, it has t and h, so I'll just say this is x and this is h. Looks like t is seconds, and h would be the height. So x is my time in seconds, and y would be height. Okay, so I gotta find a quadratic model again, but first I have to put that table into Desmos. All right, so I'm going back. Gotta add a table. Okay, so in my first row, I have 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Notice there's not a 4. It goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then my second row goes in my second column. So 299, 311, 291, 155, and 39. Okay, this time I probably want to change my y values. Let's go to my little wrench or whatever that is. Okay, let's go from, I don't know, let's do -10, I'm just guessing. And then let's make that 500. All right. Okay, it kind of looks like an upside down parabola, which makes sense because these are all going to be quadratics, which are parabolas. Okay, in box 2, this is where you have to type in that one thing that I can't do on my phone, apparently. So you're going to type this into box 2. You're going to type that into box 2. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what you should get for A, B, and C. That's going to pop up. And then I'm going to write my equation. So your equation is going to be y equals, looks like A is negative 16 x squared plus 60x plus 255. All right, there's somebody at my door. I'll be right back. Big one. Yeah. But it's fine. I put it like most of all our stuff on the front on it. Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, it should be fresh in their memory. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm just popular today, I guess. Got to knock at the door, I'm getting a phone call, I'll just call them back. Okay, anyway. This is what you should get for your equation. All right, and then part C, this time I'm giving you 80 feet. I am giving you a height. So in this case, y is equal to 80. So I'm going to have to go to my Desmos again. All right, so first I have to type in my equation that I got, which is all this. So y equals negative 16 x squared plus 60x plus 255. Okay, that looks good. And then in box 3, I'm going to type in y equals 80. All right, now, since I am giving you y, you want to give me x, which would be the time in seconds. Since they cross two places, I don't want this one because I can't have a negative time, but I do want this one. So my answer would be 5.677, and I'm going to label with seconds. So hopefully all of this makes sense. I know I couldn't show you how to type this in because I was using my phone, but hopefully you figured that out. And the homework is to do 1-8.